I grew up reading Harry Potter. Huge fan. In fact, I recently binged a bunch of the movies because Sci-Fi had a marathon, and I just sat on my sofa, after I worked of course, and just watched Harry Potter. The movies aren't as good as the books, obviously they never are, but it seems now that, J.K. Rowling has lost the plot. She keeps retconning things. It doesn't make sense. Okay, everybody's freaking out now because they're claiming that by making an Asian woman turn into a beast, that's her words, their words, not mine, it's racist. And all of a sudden we have this really weird retconning social justice attempt in the new Harry Potter film that's coming out, Crimes of Grindelwald, and everybody's freaking out. I want to start by saying something. Online mobs are typically disingenuous. You can't trust that they actually... sometimes a lot of people will say something and you should listen, right? Sometimes you shouldn't. And we really don't know when or how to quantify if there's something actually going on that needs to be fixed. We just don't know. In this instance, everyone's freaking out because a South Korean actor is playing Nagini. Spoiler alert. This is in the news. Everybody knows about it. There's a trailer out, so if you don't want to hear about this stuff, you didn't watch the trailer. Nagini is Voldemort's snake, okay? Nagini is a Horcrux. If you're not a fan of Harry Potter, that means that Voldemort put a piece of his soul into Nagini, his snake, and he can't die so long as the snake lives, right? And so Harry Potter has to destroy these objects. At the end of the last book and the movie, Neville Longbottom, a white male, uses a magic sword, I believe, and kills Nagini. But see, here's the thing. At the time, Nagini was just a snake. That was it. And Neville Longbottom, a white male, killed the snake. Now we have a problem because Nagini is actually a Korean woman, apparently. J.K. Rowling said that she's been holding in this secret for 20 years, that Nagini is actually something called a maledictus. I think that's what it's called in the story. I should probably just read the story. But basically that she's a Korean woman who was cursed and eventually turned into a snake and then became, what does that make her, an 80-year-old snake companion for the Dark Lord? But, so everyone's freaking out because they're mad that they're having a woman of color be turned into a snake, right, for one thing. And now I don't think this is maybe this is in the story, but I'm seeing some people say, you had a white male, Neville Longbottom, kill a woman of color who was turned into a beast. J.K. Rowling, in her attempt to retcon, retcon means retroactive continuity change. So it typically means that someone who writes a book or story decides that something is different now and just changes it. So for the longest time, Nagini was a snake. But apparently J.K. Rowling wants to, I don't know what the point is, but she made Nagini a person, I guess because they're making prequels to Harry Potter, and Dumbledore is played by Jude Law, but Jude Law isn't gay. The whole thing's a controversy. Let's just read the story. From BuzzFeed News. On Tuesday, Warner Brothers released the final trailer for Fantastic Beasts. It's a sequel. One notable part of the trailer was the reveal that Nagini, Voldemort's snake, is actually a maledictus, a woman with cursed blood who eventually transforms into a beast. And here we can see this woman going and she turns into a snake. All right, apparently, I don't know the rules or whatever, but it's a maledictus is somebody who can change into an animal, but ultimately will be permanently trapped as the animal, and she's turned into a snake. And so J.K. Rowling appeared to confirm this. She said, someone said, how long have you been holding that Nagini secret, J.K. Rowling? And she says, only for around 20 years. I'm going to call bullshit. All right? I'm pretty sure that J.K. Rowling is just changing things, and I don't know why, to look deep and go oh, hey, guess what? Remember that book I wrote 20 years ago, or however many years ago? Nagini was a person the whole time. Pretty sure that's just, And now she's saying that, after a while she said Dumbledore is gay, and it's nowhere in the book is Dumbledore gay. At least, I can't remember anything. But now she's saying he is, and now it's, confirmed. And look, as far as Dumbledore's sexuality goes, I really don't care. If people who are complaining about it, I don't care. I'm just trying to highlight the retconning she is doing, because I don't believe she wrote Dumbledore to be gay. I don't think that's the case. I don't care if she says he is. It's her story, and I really don't care if Dumbledore chooses to love a man or a woman. He's a great character regardless. So now she's changing the snake into a person, but people are pissed. Let's talk about why people are so angry. However, shortly after the reveal, people began calling out the casting of an Asian woman in the role. Someone said, besides her fascist domestic abuser casting, it's talking about Johnny Depp. She has a queer-coded character that becomes a source of evil in the first film and is literally being groomed by fascist evil big bad. I think she's talking about Grindelwald, like the main villain. He is gay. I believe he's gay because apparently like Dumbledore and him are a thing or something. I don't know. Now it is revealed that Claudia Kim is playing Nagini and she's blood cursed to turn into a beast, and it only affects women. And of course she picks an Asian woman. Like, that's not stereotypically disgusting enough. There's like nothing you can do ever. I don't know why they would do this. There's no point in making Nagini a person. Why? It doesn't make the story any better or anything like that. And here's the thing. Everybody's complaining about it. They complained that, which character was it? There was some complaint that they were having a non-trans person. Oh yeah, Scarlett Johansson. There's like this big hubbub because she was going to play a trans man. And they were like, why don't you get a trans man to play a trans man? And some people were like, maybe Scarlett Johansson's an actor and she can just portray whoever. That's what actors do. They pretend to be something they're not. But everybody was angry. Scarlett Johansson pulled out of the film, and I think the film got canceled. I don't know what happened exactly. But what I was curious about is that Jude Law isn't gay, right? Dumbledore is gay. And so if everyone's complaining they want to see a trans man play the role, then why don't they want a gay man to play Dumbledore, right? It seems like the rules are kind of inconsistent. I would just say I don't think there are rules, because the rules tend to change, and there's nothing you can do. You know, I made a video the other day about how everyone initially liked the hair of Princess, I think her name's Princess Tiana or Tana, from Frog, the Princess and the Frog or something like that. I'm not a big Disney person. And then, you know, everybody was into it. They were like, oh, it's so cool, her hair is natural. But then apparently someone came out a month later and said, this is not cool, it's racist. And then everyone just flipped. So it's like, you don't know what the rules are. You don't know what works and what doesn't. Apparently, like, it should have been cool or something that the woman was, like, a person and they chose a woman of color. But here, I guess the big challenge is, like with Doctor Strange, I talked about this. The Ancient One, if you're familiar. The Ancient One is, like, the person who trains Doctor Strange. The Ancient One's originally like a stereotypical Asian-looking person, and they didn't want to do that because they thought it'd be racist. So they decided to cast a Celtic woman. They did Tilda Swinton, but then everyone complained that it was whitewashing, and like that was the big complaint. So it's like, there's nothing you can really do, I guess, right? You want to put a woman of color in a powerful role, and like Nagini is a very important character in the series, and you want to give it to a woman of color, and you want to say it's actually a human, a maledictus, but you do it wrong. And you don't know how to do it right. Admittedly, you never know what's going to work and what doesn't, because people get mad, and one person gets mad, and everyone just piles on, and it's just mobs everywhere, just angry, outrage mobs. And so now people are freaking out about this. And so after her, it says, Rowling has previously been criticized for the lack of diversity within the Harry Potter universe, the recasting of Lavender Brown as a white character when her role became bigger in the films, terrible outfit choices for the Patil twins, and the appropriation of Native American culture are all regularly cited by fans and critics as ways the writer has let down a diverse audience. Let me point out, Harry Potter, how old was I? Like 10 years old when the first book came out? She wrote this a long time ago. The world is a very different place. You can't get mad that when she wrote the book in like the 90s or like 80s or whatever she wrote it, that she didn't, or you know, I think it was the 90s, that she wasn't addressing identity politics, because this stuff didn't really exist back then. It kind of did, but not to this level, you know? The film has also been criticized for keeping Johnny Depp in the role as Grindelwald despite allegations of domestic abuse from his former wife Amber Heard. Yeah, that's the bigger one. Because I can understand that with the Nagini thing, you're like, I have no idea how to do this right. With Johnny Depp, you can choose to keep him, you know, take him or leave him. And they've chosen to keep him on. That's their decision. Look, don't ask me. But that one's clear cut. He's been accused of abusing his wife. You're going to support that or not, right? I don't know if it's proven that he did. I'm just saying that one kind of makes sense, right? I understand the rules there. If you're accused of beating your wife or abusing a woman, you know, don't work with them, otherwise people will get angry. With the Nagini thing, I'm kind of like, is it good to cast a woman of color in a strong, like, villainous role? Is it bad because you're making a queer person a villain? Like, dude, I literally have no idea. Like, people are angry, apparently. This person says, is it just me or is the whole Claudia Kim thing racist on, like, 100 different levels? I don't know. She's South Korean. I'm only part South Korean. I can just say, as a part South Korean person, I really don't care. I actually think that scene looks really cool, right? If I'm going to be honest. That's cool. She, like, turned into a snake. I think it's really. Oh, she's also very gorgeous, by the way. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but she is a very beautiful woman. Try to be respectful here, but I think it's a really cool shot. I think it's really dumb they made Nagini a person, but whatever. I'm really excited for this movie. Apparently, everyone else is angry. Someone said, couldn't Nagini have just been an evil snake, and maybe Claudia Kim could have played a different witch and not a literal dehumanized character? This also ends up turning a triumphant moment for Neville, vanquishing evil into something deeply troubling and problematic. There it is. That's what I was talking about. Neville, the white male, killed a woman of color who was turned into a beast. It's deeply troubling and problematic. Yes, the retcon has now made the ending of the finale of the series racist and sexist. Neville, how dare you? Some people said that casting pushed the stereotype of Asian women being submissive and weak. That doesn't make any sense. A giant snake that kills people? That's not submissive. It murders a bunch of people, or she murders a bunch of people. Now that Nagini's a person, I've got to correct my pronouns. Sorry. Nagini's name is believed to be derived from a Sanskrit word for snake or cobra deity. That's causing a whole problem in itself. Oh, great. Here we go. I like Claudia Kim. I'm glad she's getting work, and it seems like she has a cool take on the role. I'm sure she will bring humanity, dignity, and vulnerability to Nagini, but also did it have to be Nagini? Because now that's racist, too. You know what? There's nothing you can do. I'm just going to say right now, one thing that I have iterated time and time again. Me, personally, I like social justice. I like the idea that we will judge people based on the content of their characters and not the color of their skin. And that there are systems in place that are still hold remnants of racial oppression, of gender oppression, and things of that nature. It'd be silly to think that we've gotten rid of discrimination and prejudice. We haven't. We might not be able to completely, but I like the idea that we can think about it and plan and say, hey, well, hold on. We don't got to be mad. If someone is experiencing some kind of racism or sexism or homophobia or transphobia, let's figure out how to make that not be a thing, right? I think that's fair to say that we want a society where no matter what you do or who you are, so long as you're not violating the rights of others, we can respect you, plain and simple. There's a lot of complications, don't get me wrong, when it comes to children and trans rights. Very complicated stuff. But I don't care if you want to dress up like Big Bird and walk around the street juggling bananas or whatever. I literally have no problem with that. And I think you should be treated with a basic level of dignity and respect no matter who you are and what you do. Now, if you start throwing bananas at people, we got a problem. You're violating someone else's, individual rights. But that's good social justice. Saying, listen, how would you feel if you went to a store or a restaurant and you saw someone being racist to a customer for no reason? Most people, I'd imagine, would be like, dude, not that bullshit, man. Fuck off. Right? If I went to a store, if I was at a restaurant and I saw somebody being racist toward, the business owner was being racist, I'd get up and leave. Right? Because there are issues where we can find social justice. But the social justice warrior idea is this kind of person who's a bully, authoritative, and I think too often there are people who use social justice and social justice warrior interchangeably. I do not, and perhaps I can do better, and I'll try to use a different word other than social justice. I'm gonna use regressive left from now on. Actually, I think that's better, because regressive left are illiberal reactionaries. And that's the difference. An illiberal reactionary believes you don't have a right to speech. They actually want to turn the clock back on civil rights. Yes, they are for segregation. I am not exaggerating when I say that. So we want to separate social justice, which is about inclusivity and respect and equality of opportunity, from illiberal reactionaries on the left who think that we should segregate each other for some reason. The point being, these people who are angry about this, it's like, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? They're how do you weed out the bad actors from the good actors? I have no idea. I tend to not want to throw everyone out, and accuse everybody of being the bad person and try and assume good intentions sometimes. But sometimes people are just really mean. And maybe they don't deserve it, but I don't know. Anyway, that's it. There you go. Harry Potter is racist or something. Stick around. I've got more videos coming up in just a few minutes.